Howdy ho YouTubers, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be answering the age-old question that I get probably the most on my channel, is how much does it cost to build a lake and is it profitable? It's a question that I get quite a lot and it's quite a difficult question to answer depending on your circumstances. Now for my situation, I already owned the land that I built my lake on. I didn't build my fishery for a business purpose to start with. I literally built it as wanting my own lake, but when I put my planning permission in, I also put it in so that I could operate as a fishery. Now the way that the planning works with fisheries is if you want to ever open up as a lake as opposed to a private lake, you have to get the planning permission from the council. If you don't get the planning permission from the council, you can't operate as a fishery. They'll just come round and they'll just shut you down. They'll serve you with what's called an enforcement notice. My personal situation was I had a little bit of money on the side. We were looking for things to do with the field that we had, and I decided that building a lake in there was going to be one of the options. I started planning for it in 2018 and I never actually got round to doing the actual project until 2020. There's various reasons for that, but the main ones are the planning process. You can't just go around digging holes in fields apparently, you've got to have the proper planning for it. There's a variety of ways that different people acquire different lakes. One of those processes is from leasing. Now all leasing is basically someone who's already built a lake, they lease the land to you for an X amount of time. This is usually done with people that are looking to start a fishery, take one over, or acquire someone's land that they've done nothing with, they've just used it as a lake and then turn it into the process of being a fishery. This is a very, very common method, you see it quite a lot. Someone in the mainstream media who adopted this process is Danny Fairbrass from Corda. Some of their lakes, like their embryo stuff, the Gigantica stuff like that, most of those lakes are leased. That means that the landowner supplies them with the fishery and they run it as so. Taking that kind of route can be good, but it does carry inherent risk. If you don't get the right amount of footfall to be able to pay the lease, you're going to be underwater before you start. Fishery leases are renowned for being expensive, and it's another reason why you can expect to see some high ticket prices in some of those areas. However, it does have its advantages. You don't need as much capital to start a leasehold fishery, though there may be a number of improvements you need to make to suit it as to what you want to be doing with it. The bottom line of it is really none of it is cheap, whatever way you go. However, since COVID, there is a distinct advantage to building your own fishery. Now, I got quite lucky because I built my lake in 2020 just as COVID was happening, but I did manage to keep the costs of building my lake down. Currently in 2025, if I wanted to do what I've done now, it would probably cost me 1.5 times as much to do it, purely just because of ever-growing costs and rising inflation. Another advantage to building your own lake is they've become, these days, real commodities. It's becoming harder and harder to get planning permission to build these sort of venues. And with ever rising costs of the world, less and less people have become inclined to do it over the years. So from my perspective, if I was to ever sell my lake or if I was to lease it out, I'm always going to be in profit later on in the future. So now it's time for the really big question. How much does it cost to build a lake? Well, I'm going to take you through some figures now and show you what I spent approximately around the 2020 mark and how much it's cost me since. So here's a rough guide of what I spent during the process of building my lake. So my planning permission was 6,000, the lake build was 20,000, the fencing was 4,000, the car park was 3,000, the carp that I put in cost me altogether 6,000, the perch that I added was 500, swims and paths cost me another 4,000, the borehole that I put in, which keeps the lake topped up during the summer months, that was 4,500. A digger that I went out and bought because I built a stock pond. A tractor and a topper to keep the grass down around the fishery in the field. That was an additional 3,000. Then I had to go out and buy what's called a flail mower, which is basically a mower for the back of the tractor again, because the topper was quite old and it ended up breaking, was unrepairable. That was another 1,200 quid. So in total, it was It's cost me around £55,000, £55,200 I've got down for the total. That's approximate, it's not a real figure. So there you go, there's a brief overview of how much my lake costs to do. Other lakes may be different, it all depends on your situation. Some people also ask me quite a lot, do I ever regret doing anything while I've been doing this? The answer to that is yes and no. You're forever learning as you go along. There's things that I did at the start that I wish I hadn't have done. Those things were like really look into the landscape a little bit more. I probably could have done a little bit more in the way of planning out the lake rather than just having the contractor come out and sort of look at it the one time. Really, I should have, taken away the information and, dealt with it a little bit better. I could have probably made it a little bit more cost effective than I did. But on the whole, do I regret it? No, absolutely not. It's one of the best things that I've ever done. It's something that's going to always hold its value if I ever need to sell it. It's made a completely different environment for the field. When I first started with the field, it was completely non-profitable. You couldn't grow anything in it because it was such a wet area of land. Now it's a thriving wetland. We've got all sorts of birds here, plants, insects, mammals. So it really does benefit the environment. And it benefits the area as well. It adds an extra feature for people to come to visit and contributes to the community of the carp fishing world. There's nothing better than coming out of my house on an evening and seeing the view that I have these days. Probably worth the investment just for that. And knowing that it was something that I did myself makes it even better. So tips on how you can save costs when you're doing this sort of thing? Well, apart from the actual construction of the lake itself, everything else here has been done by me. Every path, every stone, every swim, it's all been built by me. That was quite a lot of work, but being able to put the time into that saved me thousands of pounds. The lake was never going to be open from the word go. It needed time to grow up and mature. In that time, within those few years, that's what I've been doing. As I said, really good tip, will save you a hell of a lot of money. So for those of you that don't know yet or haven't been informed, the fishery will open on the 31st of March 2026. It's been established now for 5 years, so now is really the time to sort of let people come in and start doing some fishing here. The stock right now consists of 60 fish, running anywhere from the £36 mark all the way down to 12. There's a lot of young fish in here as well, so the longevity of the fish is the priority for this place. It's really about growing fish on for the future. I've also got the addition of my stock pond, which I currently grow quite a few carp in, and they are basically just the bloodline of these fish. If we were to ever lose any through spawning and things like that, then they're ready to be replaced at hand with absolutely no biohazard whatsoever. Thanks for watching another video. Hope you've all enjoyed it, and I hope it's given you an insight into how much these kind of things costs for those of you that wanted to know. Anything else, please ask me in the comments or direct message me. I'll get back to you and I'll try and answer your questions as much as I can. For now, thank you very much. Tight lines. See you soon.